When I started the series, I genuinely, like for real, some real shit, I thought like
these different situations that I want to be discussing from like this higher point of view, the growth.
that was the point of the series, right, bitch? And when I start getting into these stories and start thinking about just details, even like details that I have forgot about and things like that, I was like, whoa. It was like I was just bombarded with like a whole lot of shit that I had to kind of process. I said, girl, fuck this shit. Y'all know I'm good for just leaving the internet and just be like,
Bye, bitch. See y'all later.
without saying bye, right? Fell into that loop again, bitch, because I just don't want to even discuss this. Bitch, I've already finished this series in my head. I'm good for leaving the past in the past. I'm all for leaving the past in the past. I'm trying to be as present as I can be normally, but the thing about the past and just leaving the past in the past or whatever is that the past can still affect you even without you fully knowing. So when I start going through these different stories or whatever, I start noticing how certain things that had happened still affect me today. Okay. And I also had to come to terms with like I can't omit any truths because omitting a truth can be considered a lie. With telling these stories to anybody, I am over these things. But one, I promised my audience that bitch I was gonna do a series, so I have to finish a series. And I can't move on until I clear the roads. I cannot. So Little Miss Drama, episode 3, Lost in Los Angeles. Let's get into the things.
Little Miss Drama, still your good drama.
What's that? I know the feeling. So, in episode, I guess we could pick up with episode 2. In episode 2, I talked about the New York trip or whatever. Something I didn't talk about in the New York trip was a meetup that I had with an individual that I had met on the social medias, and his name was Vic. Vic and I had became mutuals. I believe he did watch some of my videos. He had to watch some of my videos because I've watched videos of me and him back or whatever. I done cried through all this, watching videos back and everything, because I'm just like, wow, like all these things were really going on. And I remember watching the videos back, and he said my outro before. He knew my whole outro, and I was like, oh, this bitch was watching video. And I believe he told me that he had seen some of my videos. That's why he followed me on social media. He was a New Yorker, and because I was in New York, and you know, at this point in my life, I'm very friendly. I'm very like wanting to get to know people. I'm wanting to connect and things like that because I need some connection out here in this world, girl. Like, girl, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted friends. So I told Vic, I believe, that I was going to be in New York or whatever because I was there for my tourist stop. And he was like, oh, babe, we have to link or something like that. So we ended up linking one night while I was in New York. And it was me, him. And this was before the things had went sour in the New York trip or whatever. But I believe I'm telling this story correctly. I believe we could have sat down and talked in LA, but I'm almost sure it was New York because I just remember New York vibes. It was me, Cam, and Vic and one of his friends. We'll just call her Miss M. Miss M not important to the story. Miss M was just there that night. And while we're there and we're just talking or whatever, I kind of like passively mentioned, I believe that like, oh my goodness, I've always wanted to come to New York, move to New York or something like that. But at this point in the trip, Cam was trying to convince me like, no, LA is a move. And Cam was right about that because like that's where the influencer scene was and things like that, especially like circa 2017 and even a little before that. Victor had ended up mentioning that he wanted to move to LA. So I just took it as a universal sign that, you know, LA is the move. The New Yorker telling me he wanted to move to LA. On top of Cam in my ear saying that LA is moved. So I think it was during that trip where I had, you know, confirmed like, bitch, okay, we're moving to LA. And me and Cam was planning to move to LA together. And Victor was originally supposed to, I believe, move there with somebody else, but that had ended up falling through. That ends up falling through, and it had to be like a LA event or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah, it was like an event or something like the Gen Beauty probably. It probably was Gen Beauty. There's like BeautyCon, then there was Gen Beauty at this time. I don't know if Gen Beauty is still a thing. But it was like this big beauty convention or whatever, and I believe we were there for that weekend. I ended up like going to Vic's like Airbnb or something. Me and Cam ended up going to Vic's Airbnb. Oh, this was for the LA tourist stop. Conveniently, I believe this was for the LA tourist stop, if I'm not mistaken. That doesn't matter. Long story short, Vic had the person he was moving to LA with had fell through. And I and Cam were already moving there, and we were like, just be our third roommate. So it just worked out beautifully. A few weeks passed. I believe it had to be like in December or something. We end up going to December 2016. We end up going to LA together to apartment shop to look at different apartments in person. We come across this beautiful apartment in the middle of West Hollywood. I think that was West Hollywood. I think we were in West Hollywood. And it was like the perfect beginner apartment. She was a cute coin, okay? But it was a perfect apartment. And it was like, the rent was like, I believe like $4,200 or something like that. Crazy, bitch. But it was a 3-bedroom, a 3-bath, and it was like a penthouse, okay? And it was in the perfect location, especially for like beginner experience living in LA and things like that. We picked the apartment. Fast forward through time, it comes down to pay the deposit because nobody had credit and nobody, parents or nothing, was go co-sign some shit. We ended up putting in an apartment, the amount down for the apartment, which was $12,000 because you had to do 3 times the rental, all that good stuff. I ended up paying $9,000 of it because I was very much so, I was making the most money out of everybody at this point in time. And genuinely, like, these things may sound crazy to you, but like the $4,000 rent didn't seem like that much to me. It just genuinely didn't. I'm young, I'm naive, I'm not knowing no better, bitch. $4,000 at this point in time in my YouTube career was kind of, I won't say it was light work, but it was like, okay, we could do it. It's 3 of us, like, bitch, we can make it work. And even though I end up paying like 2/3 of the rent because I was making the most money, I had the biggest room, even though my room wasn't that big, but I had the biggest room and all these good things or whatever. I had the room connected to the balcony and I was making the most money. It was cool. It was cool. I was cool with putting it down to $9,000 and them just paying the rest, simply because $9,000 at YouTube at this point, I knew I was going to get it right back. That was like the light month for me. And I didn't have too many light months. I didn't have too many light months for like a 8-month period. Like the least I would make on a light month was $9,000. The most I would make was up to like $16,000. I'm making coin, bitch. My early 20s, bitch. Okay. I don't know nothing about money though. So keep that in mind. No financial literacy, loves. April 2017 comes, the move-in day, and we end up moving in. What's up, all my tops, bottoms, and girls of the world? Kenneth here, and I am back for another video. As you can see, bitch, I'm in a new location, okay? The Zor has made it to LA. I am in Los Angeles, bitch. Los Angeles. So I just wanted to come, and I'm about to give y'all an empty apartment tour. It's a little messy in certain parts, but don't mind it or whatever. We're just getting here. And I was like, I have to show my YouTube dolls because y'all are my support system. Like, y'all really fuck with me and I really fuck with y'all. But no, this is about to be the little apartment tour. We're about to go through some empty rooms. I'm gonna take y'all through and stuff. This is very undecorated. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do to the place yet. I'm trying to figure it all out. There's a lot going on in my mind right now. Okay, you guys, so we're about to show you the living room right now. We're gonna start, like, this is very backwards, but it's okay. Right now we're on the balcony, but we'll get the balcony last. We'll come back to it because it connects to my room. Okay, come on. Okay, so this is the living room. This is real cute. It's real cute, really spacious. Don't know what we gonna do with all this space, but it's real cute. As you can see, like, it's empty as fuck. You can hear me echo, like the Grand Canyon, bitch. Now, right over here is the kitchen, where all the magic will be going down. We don't do magic in a bedroom, okay? We do magic in the kitchen. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. You know how they say magic in the bedroom? I was like, magic in the kitchen. Fucking on the kitchen counters. It's like, what? We don't fuck on kitchen counters, y'all. We don't fuck on kitchen counters. We cooking. And if y'all want to see us, like, if y'all want us to record, you know, when we cooking stuff, make sure that you comment that down below, because I can definitely get the cooking episodes popping, cooking with the gays, teas, me and Cam, Vic when he wants to cook, you know, real cute. So to the right of the kitchen, we have the washer and the dryer. Very cute, very sickening, darling, very sickening, okay? We're just gonna go ahead and close that up, and we're gonna turn towards the kitchen. Okay, stainless steel appliances. We have the refrigerator, okay? It's very empty. We're actually probably going to go to like a Target or something. You funny for having shot glasses in here! And yeah, y'all get the point. It's cabinets everywhere, bitches. Cabinets are like, they don't slam. Look, it's just smooth, bitch, like my face, okay? Your face can never. I guess this could be like a pantry. Could this be our pantry?
Basically, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like food and stuff.
Yeah, this could be our towel. Okay, and then this is actually the front door. Make sure y'all go show Cam Channel some love. I'm gonna link his stuff down below because he's gonna, I'm not going to tour. I'm gonna close his door. We're not gonna go in his room today. You gotta go to his channel to see his part of the room and stuff like that. But this is his bathroom along with the guest bathroom. Yes, he has to share. He has to share, but it's okay.
Hey guys.
You don't mind.
It's Ashley too, she's helping.
Hey Ashley!
Yeah.
And now we're gonna go to where the magic happens. We are going to, I'm gonna shut Vic's door. He don't want us in here. Hey Vic bitch, can't wait till you get here. Go to his channel. Can't wait till you get here. Okay, so we're in my room, darling. Okay, cute view over there. Hands to the, yeah, yes. I have a very sickening view. My view is sickening. It connects to the balcony. We'll get to that in a moment. My closet. Bitch, I have space because I have things. I contain things, okay? When I say I have things, bitch, my boxes get here in like 2 days. I contain things, okay? All this shit gonna be filled up the next time y'all see it. I got my little tennis shoes right here, my little running around tennis shoes. My closet. Y'all let the wrong bitch get to LA. All tea. Y'all let the wrong bitch get to LA. Ooh, don't fall, bitch. This is my messy bathroom. It's very messy because I just got here, like I said, don't mind the mess. It's just, you know, all this is makeup. And then I have my rest of my makeup is in boxes on the way. The toilet. Real naked tease, bitch, okay? I'm gonna be in this bitch singing.
Like 4 people in this
This is a big ass shower. And I'm gonna be looking all up in this mirror like, you know, while I'm in the shower, be looking at my ass and stuff. You know, it's baby smooth around here. I can't, keep it right, keep it tight. And now, we're walking to the balcony. Bitch, Ashley opened that hoe on cue, okay? Okay, this is the balcony. This is where it all started. This is where this video began. This view is a pool. Okay, this view is like on another level. The pictures you are about to receive from me, over the top. We ended up moving in and everything was cool at first. Everything was actually really beautiful at first. Like it was a great experience those first like 2-3 months. It genuinely was, but we were getting along and all these things. It was a good situation. It was a gorgeous situation until it was not a gorgeous situation. I was not prepared for anything it was that I was getting ready to experience, including money problems. The month I had ended up moving to LA, or like it was a month after, YouTube was hit with the ad apocalypse. And if you don't know what the ad apocalypse is, YouTubers, we get paid from ad revenue or whatever, and the ad apocalypse had happened when one of the Logan Paul, Jake Paul, one of the poor boys, they had posted a dead body on like Screen or something, and a whole bunch of advertisers that end up pulling out.
This weird situation is where we're at when a few weeks ago, some inflammatory articles are posted about how major brands are being advertised on top of very vile YouTube videos. A bunch of advertisers fearing backlash removed their ads entirely from YouTube, and during this period, every YouTuber saw a decrease in revenue. Also, Google's valuation dropped by like $750 million in a day. How big?
Well, that had ended up affecting everyone. Everyone was affected by it. I had went from making what I was making to half of it, and it just kept trickling down. Later on in that year, I believe a lot of the advertisers had came back like towards the winter and stuff like that. But it was like, and I don't think YouTube was ever the same. Bitch, pre-ad apocalypse coin and the coin on YouTube now, it was 2 different types of coins. It was 2 different type of coins down boots, bitch. It's crazy. Cause I remembered it was like a light switch, bitch. This shit was on and it was off. But I went from making like what I was making to half of that. And it had trickled down from there. So I was making less than half of what I was making. But I thought originally that I would be okay because I had started to do like brand partnerships and stuff like that. I was already doing brand partnerships on YouTube because I had worked with the BoxyCharm, the Scentbird, Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova who work with, I guess they work with people, but not to this is when Fashion Nova was coming up, so they was working with a lot of people. Work with Fashion Nova, Zoffel. I had worked with Nordstrom. Bitch, I had already racked up some brand deals, but I had never did brand deals in terms of Instagram. And it was actually Vicky. I love Vicky because if I don't want to say if it wasn't for Vicky, I would have never got into the land of brand deals with Instagram and stuff like that. But Vicky did kind of loosely teach me the ropes. I give a bitch they 10s when they deserve a 10. So I'll give Vicky 10s and 1 9. Okay. But he loosely, taught me about the tagging of products on underneath the images and stuff like that or whatever to get the brand's attention. So it was just like the perfect combination, honestly and truly. While Vic at the point in time didn't have the social media presence, Victor was always like wonderful at working a room and connecting and stuff like that. The bitch didn't have a manager, but the bitch knew how to get a brand deal. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have a manager at this point in time either. So, I thought I was going to be okay because I started getting, the beauty brand deals. I was like, okay, we're in here. They started seeing the doll face, and all the companies wanted to work with the doll. And from that point forward, like I work with a lot of beauty companies. Like the fact that one of the craziest things for me will always be that the first beauty company that I worked with was MAC Cosmetics, like a major thing or whatever. They had paid me like $9,000 to post like 3, and usually I don't like to talk about numbers, but because I'm being fully transparent and all those things, here I am talking about numbers, and they paid me $9,000 just to post like 3 images of me using their lipstick. Like, bitch, that was nothing. I had already used MAC. And the funny thing about that being my first major beauty brand deal or whatever, and it had went up from there, but the fact about that being my first major beauty brand deal is that in college, when I had started like practicing and doing like freelance and stuff like that, I had spent the last of my refund check filling up my makeup kit with MAC Cosmetics. Bitch, my college refund check, it all went to filling up my makeup kit with MAC Cosmetics. So you could say like it was very manifestation energy, truly, for real, for real. So I thought it was going to be good until I started finding out about the net 30s and the net 60s. Bitch, I had never heard of this shit or whatever, because on YouTube, I think I had a net 30 before, but because YouTube was so frequent, I never was waiting around for the coin or nothing like that. But at this point in time, bitch, my coin is trickling down. I got bills to pay and all this shit or whatever. Girl, this is a lot going on. And plus, like, I was just moving to this new city. Like, there was a point in LA where I was out all the time. And we're going to circle back to being out all the time. Like, I was out like 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes, bitch, okay? But I will always come home and make sure I got my work done somehow, okay? By the grace of God, bitch. By the grace of the motherfucking universe, how I don't know. I was just on go, bitch. This was my outside era. I think this era was the reason why I like being inside now, because I just had experienced so much with being out in the streets of LA, meeting all type of different people, meeting some people that weren't good to be around and all those things. But eventually, like towards the end of summer, I started falling off on the rent, or probably like midsummer, I had started falling off on the rent, and I knew that I was going to start falling off on the rent to the point where I had to find something else to do. I sent around waiting from coin from companies and all this shit or whatever, and it was frequently like a net 60. Like, I remember Mac had paid me, and it was like a net 60, so they paid me 60 days after the last post had went up, bitch. Anyways, I knew I was going to start falling behind on my portion of the rent, which made me like, I had to think quick. I had to think really quick, like, what am I going to do? And I had ran into a quick fix solution, kind of. While out in the streets of LA or whatever, there was this one group of fags that I used to hang around or whatever. And when I say fags, I'll use it in a very endearing way. It's not like just calling these bitches. I'm a fag too. You get me? I had ran into the white twinks of West Hollywood, and they were cool people. There was this one specific specific individual that I would always rip and run the streets with. Y'all don't know this individual, so don't go there. It's not him yet. But there was this one guy that I used to rip and run the streets with or whatever, and he knew everybody. He knew a lot of people or whatever. And one group of people that he knew I would see out frequently, often, and that is the white twinks of West Hollywood. So it had to be like the end of June, because I know it was Pride Month, because it was definitely Pride Month. It's Pride all the time in West Hollywood, but it was like extra prideful this month. It was like the end of June, and I remember being out one night. I had ended up like leaving outside the bar or the club that we were in or whatever, and we went outside for a smoke break. Bitch, the door was smoking cigarettes at this point in time. That's how you know, like, bitch, you was out in the streets for real or whatever. But I would only smoke cigarettes when I got drunk. It's something about a drunk cig that just hits completely different. Like, that shit hit like grits, bitch. I don't know. A drunk cig always do it for me, bitch. I ain't had a drunk cig in a long time. I was always confused about the cigarette thing or whatever. Like, I would hit the cigarette because, like, I'm down for the shits. I would hit the cigarette, but I was confused. Like, we in a city where, you know, marijuana is legal and nobody got a little greenery on them. No, bitch. These bitches had cigarettes, bitch, and cigarettes down boots, bitch. Cigarettes was everywhere. But we go outside and we're smoking this particular night, and these bitches like start talking. They start talking, and a portion of the conversation had entered. Like, I could tell like they were talking amongst themselves. So I'm just sitting out, but I'm observing. But that didn't fly too long because I just butted my way into the conversation because I had heard something about like a big daddy in a bag. Taking a closer look, I was like, these bitches are like well taken care of. I'm like, this designer frame on her eye, these boots she got on, this purse that this bitch got. What are these bitches into, bitch? Put me on. So I had heard something about a big daddy in a bag, and that's when I got to asking questions. I don't remember the whole conversation verbatim. They had basically put me on or whatever. They put me on, I don't want to say to the sugar daddies, but they put me on where to find a man that like dolls in the city or whatever. They put me onto a few websites and things like that. I remember there was a story time about a security guard, celebrity security guard, and I had met him on like Craigslist or whatever. That's where I found out about like the Craigslist and stuff like that. And this was a part of the story that I didn't originally want to like admit to. Like, bitch, what you was doing what? Because you have to understand, at this point, I was Heflawless or whatever, so I felt like I had this image to obtain, like to upkeep or whatever. So like, bitch,
Heflawless was fucking for money.
Just cut to the chase or whatever. I had fell into desperate times, and I had remembered that conversation. I remember websites and all those things, and I found what I was looking for. Okay, I was my gentleman caller. I was no stranger to doing something strange for a little piece of change or whatever. I just have to be like blatantly clear here. I wasn't a stranger to doing a little something strange for the change because I was once a broke college student, and yeah, I have had a little experience, not a lot of experience, just when it was like absolutely needed, truthfully. But I find this gentleman caller because I'm realizing I'm about to be late on rent and the money ain't coming through quick enough. It's not that, you know, like I've always been told like if somebody owe you money, you're never broke. So I wasn't like completely broke, but like I didn't have the money on me. And genuinely, where I come from, like the way I grew up and things like that, we'll talk about that more in the episode to come after the next. But like nobody taught me like financial literacy and shit like that. Like nobody taught me that shit or whatever. I didn't know shit about shit. Just genuinely, I don't know what else to say. But basically I started messing around with this man. Now, the significance of this man is that I need you to understand that up until this point of my like Heflawless career, up until that point, I wasn't messing with no niggas for real. At like for a strong 2 years of doing YouTube, I wasn't messing with niggas and shit like that. I just wasn't, because I was focused on, you know, doing what I do best with this camera, fools. I wasn't messing with no niggas like that. I had plenty of niggas in the DMs and things like that. Like there was even this celebrity guy that had slid on me and I contemplated to pay him dust or whatever. That's how focused I was. And then when I tried to circle it back, he was gone. But that's besides the point. But I was focused on myself. I wasn't out in the streets hoeing. I was out in the streets having fun, but I wasn't really hoeing like that for real, for real. So when I got intertwined with this guy or whatever, we got really intertwined. Like, it became more than him just being my gentleman caller. And honestly, I think because I played it cool, I got more out of the situation, if I'm being honest. Okay, I could put the girls onto a few things. The girls always want to ask for the things up front, bitch. And if that's okay to ask for the things up front, but when you play the backseat just a little bit, don't play stupid, but just play the backseat, so just a little bit. Just really observe the nigga type shit. I'm not gonna talk about that either. But anyways, we have started messing around. And the thing about me and him starting to mess around and get to intertwine is that, like, emotional feelings had kind of started to grow there also, at least on my behalf or whatever. I mean, I'm giving up my body to this man or whatever, whether it's for money or not. Something is getting intertwined here, like on a spiritual level. If I could be completely transparent, a lot of his demons started to become my demons. And I think that's a very powerful statement that you could just really sit and think about. When I say a lot of his demons started to become my demons, this wasn't like an openly out man or whatever. So messing around with him was a traumatic experience on its own. But it was between messing around with him and everything just happening so fast. Like, I was a small town country city bitch, and I had moved to this big city. Like, this was a big shock to my brain. So like being out in the streets every night and things like that, like, it was a lot going on in my brain, and he came and he just enhanced it. I won't say it was like an abusive situation whatsoever, but there was like that power dynamic going on or whatever. I mean, he was my gentleman caller, girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just playing up to his fantasy, and I was completing his needs and shit like that. I'm getting tiptoey around this part because, like, I'm talking about it and I'm going to upload it, but I'm not fully comfortable with just blurting it all out. You get what I'm saying? But I'll tell you that's what happened. You know, I'll let your mind wander a little bit. It seemed like, and it's not to blame him or whatever, because I could have had far more control in all of this situation, but it seemed like the more I had got intertwined within him, the more things started to unravel at, like, the apartment. They end up finding out that I was falling behind on rent, and the energy shifted naturally. Like, I understood it. You know what I'm saying? We started getting into different arguments and all type of stuff like that. And it never was really me and Vic that got into arguments. I think me and Vic only had ever gotten into one argument during this point in time, because I think Vic was really trying to play it cool, if I'm not mistaken. I may not be remembering completely, because we probably got more than one argument. Because later on that year, there was almost a fight. We'll talk about that when we get there, girl. So, oh, Jesus, I'm really doing this. This is crazy. So there were a lot of times that, like, I was like barely at the apartment. When I was there, but there were times where I would just be gone, bitch. Like I said, I was out every night type shit. And Cam was working at the fucking Cheesecake Factory, bitch, or whatever. So that bitch was working at the Cheesecake Factory. It's nothing wrong with working at the Cheesecake Factory, bitch. I love the Cheesecake Factory, you don't. But I ain't had the Cheesecake Factory in a long time. Now that I think about it, bitch, oh my God. But, it's been some months. I need some of that. I need to taste that soon. I need to taste that on my tongue soon, bitch. I'm out the road. I'm up here making myself hungry. I just ate not too long ago. Yes, I did. Back to the story, child. So, the dynamics started to shift, and it almost seemingly to me like Cam and Vic started getting closer, which was a little abnormal to me, because originally Vic didn't like Cameron, and it wasn't no fake shit or whatever. I think there was just something on Cam that Vic sensed, and Vic just didn't like it, just point blank period. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like it, and I think he was rightfully so, because Cam really was the weird bitch. Like, that's a weird ass bitch. It's no shade. I can sit in front of this camera and call that bitch a very weird girl. That's a weird girl. Okay, that bitch was from from Ohio. Bitch, I don't know about you Ohio bitches now. I just don't, because that hoe was weird. It's no shade. And there were so many red flags. There was even red flags upon this. And this is not me playing a blame game or nothing like that. But the bitch was weird. The bitch did shit like, this bitch put my college best friend that he had never met on his screensaver because he seen how beautiful she was. And that was just so weird to me. Like, that's my best friend. Why the fuck I don't even have my own best friend on my screensaver. Like, who does that? It was just awfully weird to me. He did a lot of little weird shit or whatever. He really wanted to be the doll, if I'm being honest. Like, that's one bitch I can sit on camera and say, that bitch wanted to be the doll down boots or whatever. I mean, the bitch wears full faces of makeup now, bitch. And that bitch didn't start playing the makeup role until after our fucking friendship, bitch. And I don't give a fuck who feelings I hurt in whatever situation. Genuinely, like, when bitches move weird, bitches just move weird. That bitch was weird. Bitch, the college best friend thing still sticks on my mind because I'm like, that was some weird ass shit, bitch. Anyways, so time fast forward, things in the apartment just start falling apart more and more and more. And like I was saying, Vic and Cam getting close to each other it freaked me out. It weirded me out just a little bit because, like I said, why are y'all getting close? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I understood why they were getting close, because it was like I was the one falling behind on rent. They wasn't falling behind on rent, just genuinely. They didn't have as much to pay as me, but I was the one falling behind. So naturally, I could see how the dynamic shifted. And I think there were even points in time where, like I said, I was going from the apartment. I was caught up in the whole influencer lifestyle, just point blank period. I was caught up in it. Deep. I was very deep into it. Events here, events there, out here. It was a lot. That's why I said it was like lost in Los Angeles. Because on top of that, like I didn't have anybody that I felt like I could trust at all. And I think that was very vital. That's a very vital thing to have. Like I didn't even have mommy or daddy to call and like ask like, what am I doing? What should I do in this situation? I couldn't pick up my phone and just call my parents to ask or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very stressful for me or whatever. And I think that at this point in time, with all these different things going on, because I didn't have anybody to, pick up and call, and I probably definitely could have called my sister, but my sister's a fucking law professor, busy as shit. You get what I'm saying? She has a daughter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I never wanted to put anything on to her. But outside of that, like I really didn't have nobody to call and ask, like, what do I do in this situation? What do I do in this situation? And the fact that I didn't have anybody to call and I'm experiencing all this success, like I don't think people understand. Like I was experiencing the things, and the fact that I'm doing all this and I can't, mama, so this is happening. What's going on and stuff like this. I didn't have that. And I have to mention that not to like strike sympathy or anything like that, but just to say that like that truly matters. Like if you have parents in your life, bitch, you should be very, 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 very thankful, like active parents and shit like that. Parents that call you and check up on you. Imagine being me experiencing all of this, Black and queer in America. This is not to evoke sympathy. It's just to tell it genuinely like how it was for me. This was a terrible time. And on some real shit, I think it goes deeper, way deeper than most people will ever fully realize or whatever, especially if you have had mommy or daddy, etc. or whatever. But when I say like, and I'm not using it as a crutch. I'm calling it out. And I'm also saying that like, those are just skills I had to develop later on in life. Just point blank period. I was a late bloomer in certain areas that other bitches. Point blank period. But one could also say that I am such a bomb ass creative because like I was able to keep my childlike spirit a little longer than a lot of people. Okay, but we won't get into that full conversation at all because that's a whole nother type of conversation. But no. Like, even having mommy or daddy there to help raise you in the household, that affects your brain a certain way. Like, the brain is she's a powerful mechanism or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And she's an interesting, tricky mechanism. And you can mold her, etc. So, my brain was not even molded to have certain skill sets. Point blank period. And I have to be very upfront about that because you have to understand. They didn't understand at the point in time. I wasn't even 20. Nobody in that household was 23 yet. You get what I'm saying? I was the oldest. I was 22. Like, we young as shit, bitch. Okay? So, of course, they not gonna understand me. Because I remember one of them saying, bitch, you're 22. you're 22, act like it, or something like that. I'm like, bitch, I can't wait till you 22 because you're not gonna have it. It's like, yeah. But I have to put emphasis on having my man daddy or whatever, because like that was a wound for me, and that wound created a lot of other problems for me, for real. Once again, I'm not using it as a crutch. I'm just saying, like, it's something I've had to call out and point out. If anything, I'm trying to raise awareness for, like, if you end up with a situation with somebody that may not have like mommy or daddy, etc., 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 and you see a flaw in their system, that flaw in the system is probably for a reason. So you can even learn how to work with it. You understand where I'm coming from? You get me? Like, Little Miss Drama, the series is far much more than just like talking about the drama or whatever. It's actually talking about how Little Miss Drama was created. You get me? Bitch, it's layers to this. If you a cunt bitch with a cunt brain. I wasn't able to even communicate with them. There were times I wish I could just sit down and talk to them, but I couldn't even pull myself to do that, because it's like, what am I experiencing? And then when they got closer, for real, that made my trust issues go up like by 10,000. Bitch, 10,000, I don't fuck with this. Nah, bitch, nah, bitch. And by the time the money had came to fix the issues, it was still, you could pay or you could leave or whatever. I said bye, because by this point in time, understandably, these hoes had called me everything but a child of God. I was everything but a child of God, especially like Cameron. I was everything but a child of God. Yes, I was, bitch. Oh no, I gotta go. Took my money, took my coins, left. Bye. Everybody gotta go. Disperse. Because they was talking to me, it's no shade. They was talking to me like, bitch, they could have paid it. The more I realized that I'm in this alone, and I felt very alone in all of this, the more I started to unravel like a lot of childhood trauma and stuff like that. So I'm experiencing trauma in real time and can't even pay attention to what I'm experiencing, because I started unraveling, childhood trauma and things like this. Like, this is when I want to say I woke up. Like I woke up, like I had the spiritual awakening or whatever. And I think that things got very spiritual for me, because it was spooky, just the coincidences and things that would happen. Like, for example, the apartment we moved into, for me, at least this is a correlation I made, it was 409, like it was the street, it was 409 North Hayworth. And the 409 is the area code of the place that I grew up in. And the place that I grew up in is where I got all of my trauma from. Do you feel what I'm saying? So there was just a lot of, it was far more coincidences than that, but that was like the biggest one, because it was a shock. So I end up drowning, honestly and truly. I end up drowning to the point of us getting not even an eviction. They were just like y'all gotta get out this apartment. Y'all gotta, because nothing went on nobody's record or nothing like that. Because I also think there were some foul things on the apartment side going on. But I didn't have time to fully look at that and discover that or whatever. But I deeply feel like there was something foul going on with the apartment. Or maybe they were just giving us the chance to just move out without anything going on anybody's record, because they seen that we also were like young and stuff like that. And I think they had a grip of what was going on within the household, because there will be times where the apartment managers, they live like right next to us, so they would hear us arguing and things like that. So I think they just gave us a little leeway, even though them bitches were very rude. The woman specifically, that was a rude ass bitch. I think they gave us a little leeway, but I also think there was something else going on or whatever, because bitch, we left with a balance. You feel what I'm saying? But I guess they got the balance with the down payment. Maybe that's why they said y'all could go scot-free, bitch. We got the money. It doesn't even really matter. It was me. I was falling behind on rent. Little Miss Drama. That's the story. Lost in Los Angeles. That's what happened. That's what happened with me and roommates. We fell out after that. That's just what happened. Nothing else happened. I don't know. Like, yeah, we got into arguments, but I can't even sit in here and talk about all the different arguments that we got in, specifically between me and Cam, because, like, I don't know. I will say that this is where the me putting somebody's HIV status rumor had came from. And I think I'm going to tell this story because I really want to talk about that more so than anything, because when Cam came out and was like, I outed his HIV status or whatever, that affected me in so many ways. I'm Black, I'm queer. What do I look like outing somebody's HIV status? But furthermore, imagine how that affected me. I had lost brand deals because of this. I had lost 3 different brand deals because they had got a whiff of me outing somebody's status or whatever. That was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. How the I outed Cam's HIV status thing came about, that came about because I had told a friend. All I did was tell a friend. I told a friend, and I had told our roommate, Vic or whatever. I told my friend, but at the time, which was Zach, I told him that Cam had HIV, and I didn't tell him in like a messy way, like, oh, this bitch got HIV. I believe Zach was dating somebody with HIV at that point in time. Okay. I think I had told him in a way of like, what do I do with this? Like, bitch, he told me this. Like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? That was me and Zach were cool at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, I didn't have nobody else to talk to but Zach, for real, for real. And I didn't even tell that bitch everything, because there's details. Even when we get to his story and I get to talk, he gonna be like, bitch, what? Yeah, sister, this was going on. But it was like one thing at a time. The HIV thing. Cam had came and told me that he had HIV. And he came and told me that he had HIV at a point in time where me and him wasn't even cool. So I was confused as to why he came to me and not Victor. And that's why I had told Victor, because I was like, why he didn't come to you and came to me or whatever. If I'm not mistaken, I had asked Victor, I was like, Vic, did Cam tell you? And Vic was like, no. If I'm not mistaken, that's exactly kind of happened, because I thought that he would have told Victor first. That's the only reason Victor found out. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I'm almost sure, because I remember his face expression. I remember Vic's face expression when I told him, and Vic was like, why would he tell you, not me? Because me and Cam, we're not fucking with each other at all at this point in time. I couldn't stand that bitch at this point in time. I was about to off his head. I believe we had gone to a fight. There was this one fight where this bitch threw milk all over me, or a saucer or something, and I just backhand the fuck out that bitch. What the fuck you throwing milk at? Like it's a fucking pizza party, or marinara. Like it's a pizza party, bitch, whole food fight. I ain't never want to really just lay my hands on Cam, because I would have probably whopped his ass. It's no shade. I would have whooped Cameron's ass. I never wanted to whoop his ass. There was always something about it like, oh, I can't put my hands on you how I want to. Because he just not that type of girl. He was like the type of girl. He called the police on me. I believe, like 1 or 2, 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. Call the police on me. Bitch, do you know? My mama used to call the police on my daddy all the time. Do you know how much traumatic that was? How triggering it was? I'm assuming that Cam didn't tell Vic and wanted to tell me, because I feel like maybe he thought that I was his honest and true friend, so he just had to tell me even though we weren't cool. You know what I'm saying? But I think he was telling me that the reason why he was acting the way he was acting, which was kind of irrational at points in time, is because he was dealing with that. You get what I'm saying? If I'm playing devil's advocate and not just calling him a weird ass bitch, I'm almost sure that's why he told me, because other than that, I just didn't know. When he told me, he came in my room, he bust out crying. He was like, "Can I have HIV?" And it's not funny. Like I've slept with people with HIV before. You know, I think that the stigma amongst like HIV is very, it's still negative and stuff like that. And I feel like that's very dangerous, because you can have sex with people with HIV and not contract it, etc. As long as you know what I'm saying. As long as they're doing their due diligence and shit like that. Like, I'm very mature when it comes to talks about like diseases and stuff like that. Like that person is very immature not to be mature about it, because that person didn't ask for HIV. You know what I'm saying? And the person before that gave it to them didn't ask for it either, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can go on and on and on about it. But that part hurt me, because I would never out somebody's HIV status. I had lost followers because of that and stuff like that. I didn't give a fuck that I had lost followers, because if you don't know me, then just leave. You know what I'm saying? If you know that if you think that's in my character to be like, oh, this bitch has HIV, then you're not for me, because that has never been in my character. It would never be in my character. And if it was in my character, I would do it with my bold face, especially at that time, as feisty as I was then. And I wasn't even fight. I had got a little feisty. I became very LA. And when I say I became very LA, it was easier to be LA. It just was. I get why the girls become LA. It's easier to be LA or whatever. And you do get a little farther if you become a little LA. It's no shade. They don't want your authentic light. They want the light that they see upon you. Besides the point. But that's the HIV situation. Don't really give a fuck. Like I said, I have already went through these stories in my head like twice, and the series is over to me, but I have to come finish it for you guys. And yeah, that's what happened. We ended up moving out like a little after like the top of November. We ended up moving out or whatever. I did trash the apartment when I left or whatever, because I wasn't getting my money back, and I wouldn't have gotten my money back regardless if I didn't trash the apartment or whatever. I didn't trash it, like do major damage, but I did leave trash in the apartment purposely because Miss Bitch, the apartment manager, she had me fucked up. She was so mean. She was so rude, and like she was rude before we even started having like, you know, the problems of not paying rent and things like that. She was rude before that. And yeah, that's that story. Lost in Los Angeles. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to make sure I mention all the details. Or all the details I can remember, at least. That's why I went to Bitches and Act. The next 2 episodes I remember like the back of my head. But that's why when I asked some bitches, like, would y'all mind getting on camera or whatever, but nobody responded to me. Vic responded, but Vic didn't, he never followed up. That's cool. Because I'm telling what I remember. And if you feel the way, I gave you the opportunity. I gave both of the bitches the opportunity to join in so we could piece it all together, because there were so many moving parts to it. And I could just talk about what I was experiencing and why things were the way they were. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. You could get this episode in more detail behind the Patreon wall. I'll make sure I list it down below. It is like $3.33 if you want to pay for the episode. It's far more detailed and it's far more like structured than this was or whatever. This was the only story that I knew I was going to have trouble telling this story, because I had blurred a lot of things out of my mind, genuinely. There's a lot of shit that I don't remember. But there are like more structured details behind the Patreon wall if you care to watch. I'm not forcing anybody to subscribe to the Patreon or anything like that, especially because I'm not super consistent on Patreon just yet. But we do have things in the works and we do have things planned, very fun, good things planned or whatever. She's always up to something. But yeah. That's episode 3. And I'm about to sit here and go straight into episode 4 because you all deserve it.